Hi, friends. Welcome to Enlightened World Network. Today we have an unprecedented event here. Michele Landers is EWN's very favorite numerologist, and she is reaching out to give us a mid-month update on July. And she's titling this Chaos and Clarity, Navigating the Dynamic Mars-Uranus-Algol Conjunction. And it has to do with July 15th. 2024, correct, Michele?
That is correct. And thank you, Ruth, for allowing me to come on EWN's platform to talk about this. I thought it was really important to bring up. You know, I kind of debated, but I said, I think this is a big one because there's big transits that go on all the time, every month. But this supposedly July 15th, Monday, is a supernova. Before I get into the actual date of Monday, I really want to talk a little bit about a couple of other things having to do with the month. So this is a really, really powerful transit, and it is at work now, and it's building energy. The most powerful impact should be Monday, the 15th. So why is there so much hubbub about this date? Well, before I drill it down, let's just talk about the month of July, which is, again, a 7 month. Adding the 7 month to the year 2024, 2024 reduces to 8, add that to 7, we get 15. And 15 is important as in number 1, that is one of the dates, one of the numbers that we're interpreting for the month of July, but it's also very important for Monday. So we have 7 and 15, and the number 6, because 1 and 5 is 6. So just to recap, number 7, very spiritually inclined number. It asks us this month to relax, rest, and go inward. That is, I wanted to bring that up again because that is critical right now. So when 7 is operating in a positive way, it helps us to be discerning, analytical, it deepens our spiritual practice. It corresponds to the planet Neptune. And Neptune is very ethereal. It's kind of this illusionary planet. Things are not always crystal clear with Neptune, and it brings a lot of confusion, a lot of questioning. Now, I want to mention, of course, that we live in a world of duality. We have hot and cold, up and down, bitter and sweet. Numbers, everything in the world, even numbers and astrological houses, tarot cards, it's no exception with planets and all of these other modalities. So when 7 is operating at its highest potential, it's beautiful, it's spiritual, it's analytical, it wants to go deep. It wants to understand. It can be the way shower. So anybody who has, by the way, the number 7, heavily aspected in your chart, this would resonate with you, being the teacher. When 7, though, is operating out of its challenging sign, it can be sarcastic, aloof, suspicious. It can cause overthinking. And under the vibration of the 7, we can be very susceptible to being deceived. Now, remember, this is also the energy this month. So the number 7 in the tarot shows up as the Chariot. Now, interestingly, the Chariot's associated with the sign of Cancer, and we're in Cancer season. The number 7 asks us, what are our values really? Especially as a conscientious spiritual being. I mean, can you be good with with conscious support of things, or do things that you know are morally or financially questionable and say, oh, well, the end justifies the means? That does not work under especially under what we're going through and under the vibration of the 7. So the 7 can be very good at justifying doing the wrong thing. Remember, terrorists do this all the time. So that's one of the important messages of July and the number 7 and the Chariot. So it's questioning our values, how we really feel about things, and that's the running theme, and our ability to see things clearly. So the other number is the 15, and the 15, just like all numbers, has a dual effect. On the positive side, it's individualistic, it's creative, it's nurturing, and when it's working in a negative vein, it has the characteristics, just to short circuit this for a minute, of the tarot card, the devil. So don't be afraid of that, because yeah, it's the devil, but not to be frightened by the card, because again and again, what I want to emphasize is we can either rise up to the positive messages that are shown in the tarot, astrological, transit, numerology, or we can allow ourselves to fall prey to the negative energy of these very enlightening modalities. So the devil card is about bondage. It's about addictions. It's about being so obsessed or attached to a certain way of thinking or a way of being that we're blinded. We're blinded by our beliefs. We're blinded to the truth. And in some cases, it could be rageful. So what could possibly be the positive side of the devil card? Well, the positive message of the devil card, it's about shining light on those dark areas, those shadow areas, on the obstacles that are in our way, whether that is a certain or stuck way of thinking or actual addictions. And I have to say, honestly, in one way or the other, this is my belief, and to one degree or another, we all have something, or maybe even someone, that we might be addicted to. I mean, it could be as simple as coffee. But I do believe that we all have, it could be a way of doing things every day, but we all have addictions, but not all of them, of course, are harmful. So we are being asked in a big way this month to take a very intense look at our values, what we need to let go of, what is no longer helpful or useful in our lives. So the number 6 has a number of meanings. It's very nurturing. It's a number of service. It's family values, family matters, and it's also very political. And I think the most important characteristic of the number 6 is to have balance, which I think I can say with some authority, we are so out of balance right now. And balance is what is desperately needed, especially this month. So know that 6s can also be very opinionated. And as I said on July 1st, that opinions will be, and they certainly are right now, flying back and forth and be all over the place. So what's interesting about this energy is it can also bring, 6 is very political, it can bring falls from position, people losing their heads, and that's quite profound because it brings me to the main topic of this talk today. The very intense and powerful conjunction that's taking place on Monday, July 15th, Mars-Uranus and Algol at 26 degrees Taurus. And if you don't know anything about the planet Algol, that's okay, because most people don't. I wasn't aware of it for a very long time. So listen to this. Algol is called the demon star. And this isn't to scare anybody, because none of this is, I don't believe that it's scary, because we can rise up to the higher vibration of it. It's just presenting us with information to work with and learning how to take the higher road. So remember, the 15th card of the tarot, which is very prominent this month, is the devil. And isn't it interesting that this conjunction is taking place with Algol, which is the demon star. Algol is mythologically tied up with Medusa and quote unquote beheading. So I don't know if that piques your interest, but it certainly does mine. So this conjunction has the energy of Mars, and we know Mars likes speed. It's impatient, it's fiery, it's very high energy. It can be angry, Then we have Uranus, which is unpredictable, revolutionary. Uranus has to do with electricity, with air flight, with airlines, with shocking or surprising events. Also with inner space, outer space. Mars and Uranus together, that is a really, really dynamic duo. And when you add the planet Algol to this mix, it really intensifies those aspects and the energy. It falls from grace. It can be the unraveling of something political. It definitely has to do with leadership, and no surprise, right? Because we're experiencing this as we speak, right? Very messy politically. It could be many times with this intense energy, because there's a lot of anger going on. You can hear people saying, enough is enough, and advocating for change or advocating for some kind of progress or doing something different. But all people, I have to say right now, probably have a certain amount of restlessness going on. Historically, this transit, but of course, I say this hesitantly because, you know, it does depend on other things, but historically it's been associated with dramatic transformations and sometimes even violence. And I'll talk just a little bit about that in a minute. So this energy can lead to electrifying and unexpected events. It can bring eruptions emotionally, physically, emotionally on a physical plane, earthquakes, volcanoes, tsunamis. I think we all pretty much know the lineup. Things, again, having to do with air flights, inner and outer space. It can bring cyber attacks. It can bring electrical storms, electrical, blackouts. So, watch your computer. Well, I don't know. Just make sure stuff is backed up, I guess. That would be the best advice. And it's also about very, very, very importantly, letting go of and removing things, because this transit will have a tendency to do it if you don't. It makes us pay attention to the very important areas of our lives. Now, it can also lead to breakthroughs and radical shifts, and these are going to be both good and challenging. There could be some breakthroughs either medically or, I don't know, science, something like that. It's forcing us to let go of what is no longer working in our lives. And we have to be really cognizant and really think about that, because at first blush, you might be saying, no, everything's really working fine. Maybe that's true, and maybe that's not. Think about your relationships or partners or your health or career or home. All of these things are up for reevaluation. It can bring startling events individually or on the world stage. On another note, it has to do with accidents, sharp objects. So I just say across the board, it doesn't mean everybody is going to be affected by, getting cut by a knife or whatever. But I am just cautioning people, just kind of be extra careful handling any type of sharp objects or tools or gardening, driving, that type of thing. So the astrological signs that may feel this conjunction the most are the fixed signs: Taurus, Capricorn, Scorpio, and Aquarius. And how about this? On a personal note, I have an Aquarius sun, a Scorpio rising, and a Capricorn moon. So I just have to say, I'm not leaving the house for the next week. That's what I decided. And I do have some serious things to redo and reconsider, but I'm not going anyplace. But it is very likely, I believe, that everyone is going to feel this energy from one degree or another. So anyway, to tie up all my advice on the physical plane, be very conscious of your surroundings, be careful traveling, watch your temper, be mindful of relationships, do some serious thinking about what is working, what isn't working in your life. And I really invite people to go deep on this, because again, some people might say, oh, everything's fine. Okay, and again, maybe it is, and maybe you need to revamp some things. Because on the flip side of this is a perfect time to take some meaningful steps to make changes. And if these are important areas of our lives, then I have to say, if we don't make those changes, this energy will have a tendency to force our hand. So again, as a reminder, the energy is building now, but it peaks on July 15th. And after that, even though it starts to wane, we will still get the some of the energy of this, and it also is laying the groundwork for future changes. So stay safe, think about what changes you need to make, and most of all, have faith that it's all for our greater good. And I would love to get feedback from people for this week, or when the transit hits, or find out, how is this affecting your life? So stay safe, be blessed, and thank you so much for listening.
Thank you, Michele. So you have said previous times that it is not just the one day you're talking about. It could be the day before or the day after. So it's maybe 72 hours or so that you're thinking?
Longer than that, probably, I would say almost the week.
Okay.
It's critical on Monday, July 15th. And that seems to be a universal, very much a universal opinion. I've never seen so many astrologers saying pretty much the same thing about that date. So this is going to be interesting. And if something big doesn't happen, and I hope whatever does happen, if it is big, it is, maybe I'm being a Pollyanna, but boy, it would be great if it was some big, good, positive change, you know? But it's intense. It is intense. And if it's not, well, okay, then we dodged a bullet, I guess.
Another 2YK.
Yeah, right. Exactly. So I just tell everyone, take this with a grain of salt. It never, ever hurts to go deep anyway, to examine your life. What is that saying, which I can't think of, that great writer? An unexamined life. Do you know the rest of that quote by any chance?
I don't offhand. No.
Well, it's not good to have an unexamined life. That's what we can say, right? So again, just be mindful. I do think it's really important for people to be careful and not go running about, because I know all of the planets do exert some energy. We know that by the moon. The moon has an effect on the tides and on us as well. So there is definitely truth to this. How it's going to manifest remains to be seen.
Sure. It makes perfect sense. And just a quick little aside, speaking about the moon, I used to be a human resources administrator, and we had 4,000 employees, and I could tell when it was a full moon because we had more discipline problems with the employees every time there was a full moon. So I do believe in that. Yes.
It's so interesting that you should say that, and that has been echoed. I have friends who are nurses and doctors, and usually, unequivocally, I would say that they say the ER, packed. And if not packed, there's definitely a big increase in people showing up on a full moon. So there has to be something. People may say this, but there's something to it. There's something to it.
I believe there is. Well, Michele, thank you so much for this mid-month update, little check-in, and just some really good reminders. Just pay attention. what are your values and how do those play out on a daily basis? And just be a little mindful. Be mindful in your relationships. Maybe it's not a great time to tell your partner how you really feel because you may not be feeling that way in a week. So
Exactly. Very good point. Thank you.
yeah, so
Good
take
point.
it easy, take good care, and God bless. We'll see you all soon.
Take care. Bye-bye.